Bethan, hello.
Hi.
So Bethan, you've just finished our CRIW apprenticeship back in March 2024. Tell me how, what attracted you to CRIW? Tell me where you were when you found out about CRIW, maybe, and when you applied for CRIW.
So I was actually working in retail at the time, just to tie me over. It was an agency job, so I was just picking up cover shifts. And I was trying everything possible to just break into the film and TV industry. And I came across, I can't actually remember where I found the job. It might have been on Facebook, actually.
Okay.
And I just saw it and I just applied. And I was like, because I saw that the progress from some of the apprentices and how they were after the apprenticeship. I was like, right, maybe that's what I have to do to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And I came to the workshop and I learned a lot in the workshop as well, which I found very useful. And I was like, right, okay, maybe there's a lot that I don't know.
Yeah.
And I need to learn before going in so I'm not blindsided.
Yeah.
And it was like really nice because I felt like I had the support to get in then.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously I got in. I was offered the apprenticeship and I did it with Helena and Chloe, which was really nice because it was like just the three of us and we were supporting each other and we were all different in our departments as well, which was really nice. And it was just a massive step in. And I think as someone who came from a degree, maybe a lot of people saw that as a step back, but for me, I think that was a step back I needed to take in order to step forward.
Fantastic.
So I really needed that apprenticeship, I think, to start off because it felt like I had the support around me and that I wasn't just, doing one job and then taking a year off and then doing another job. I had constant work. So
tell us a little bit about your degree and where you were doing your degree and stuff.
So I did a makeup and hair design course in Southampton. It was a 3-year degree, and I loved it to bits. I didn't choose to do a master's because I didn't think it was necessary if you wanted to be a makeup artist.
Were you down there? Were you living down there?
Yeah, I was in Southampton for 3 years, and then I lived in London for a year trying to find work, and I really struggled. So then I decided to come back to Cardiff because it's a lot better here.
Yeah, so your family are in Cardiff, yeah?
Yeah.
Do you feel that when you were doing your degree, were you given any chances of work experience while you were at university?
Quite a bit. We did Graduate Fashion Week and we did a bit of London Fashion Week. It was very fashion orientated. I wish I had the chance to sort of focus on the more film and TV side. We didn't really focus on much of that. I think it was more to do with the technique and skills.
Yeah.
So we could carry that over.
During your degree, during the 3 years of learning, were there any sort of modules that looked into television and film at all?
We did do a short film, but that was more so. It was a very strange course. I know it was a makeup course, but we did like the actual recording of it and sound. So it was really interesting to learn about that, how they did that. We obviously did the makeup as well because that was the thing that obviously we were most excited about.
Yeah,
and not the actual recording bit. So yeah, and that was literally briefly it. And we looked into things like novels and stuff. Which I loved because I love literature, and sort of created characters from that. But there wasn't any of like the in-depth of like how to read the call sheet and things like continuity. That would have been really good.
Like sort of practicalities of the actual job.
Yeah.
In a way, the jobs
what
that
the film and TV industry was really like.
Yeah. So when you finished your 3 years, did you really have an idea of what career you wanted to step into?
No, not really. I think for me, I was very open-minded, so I wanted to take on as much as possible. So I think because a lot of my university work was based around fashion, and then I moved to London, which was a lot of fashion. It was around that, and then I sort of had to realise at some point where did I want to be in the future, and that was Cardiff. How was I going to be sustainable with work in Cardiff? And film and TV was the answer. And also film and TV has a lot included in it that I actually love.
Yeah.
It's a lot more hands-on than you would be in fashion. So things like prosthetics, wigs and hair, I've really gotten into that recently, and I'm loving it.
So had you gone to after uni, you'd gone to London, had you moved back to Cardiff by then before you just started CRIW, or did you find out about CRIW while you were in London, or?
No, I was in Cardiff for a year,
right.
And then I struggled for a bit to find work, just on my own, and then I picked up the agency work because I could then still do a little bit of makeup. It just wasn't the makeup that I ideally wanted to go into, and then skill came along in the CRIW apprenticeship.
So you applied, got on the place.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, there were only 3 of you in your cohort.
Yeah.
I think what we did that year was we took on another 3 2 months later.
Yes. Yeah.
So we always look at you as sort of like
a 6.
Yeah, as 6 in our heads, but totally understand for you it was like 3 and 3 really. You did the workshop. You got onto CRIW. Were you hoping that you would, obviously you stated that you wanted to go into makeup and hair. And were you hoping that it was going to give you what you really wanted out of the industry, or were you worried that you might have to do other aspects during your apprenticeship?
I think it basically turned out probably better than I actually thought, because I didn't think, I was very fortunate. I know work isn't always as frequent, which I will probably learn now. But I was very lucky on the apprenticeship because I had constant work. I was very lucky because I got 3 placements while I was on the apprenticeship. And even like times when I was in office and I was like itching to go back out. But in retrospect, when you look back at it, I've had so much experience.
Yeah, tell us about your first. I know that you had to do quite a bit of work, diploma work in the Skill Cymru office. But when you actually got out then to the real world, as we call it, what was your first placement?
So my first placement was on Crisis with Boom Cymru, and that was only for the first block. But within those weeks, the entire crew was so lovely. I got to learn other people's jobs, which was so fascinating because it's nice to see how it all comes together, and it's nice to see where we fit in as well, and how everyone puts in their individual efforts to make something come out brilliant.
Did you ever feel like a junior on there? Were you ever made to feel like that, or did they really take you into their nest, so to speak, and made you feel welcome?
I was very welcomed. I was also working alongside another trainee. So it was the designer, the supervisor, the trainee, and then it was me, which was probably the most brilliant start out I could have had, because the designer was very understanding. She helps a lot with CRIW. And the trainee was also brilliant because I got to work alongside her, and if there was anything I questioned, she would just show me because she had a better understanding of probably what the designer was from her job, because obviously that was her job. The designer hasn't been a trainee for years, and a lot has changed since then, because the film and TV is always changing.
What sort of job roles were you doing day to day on this drama?
I think on the first one, it was like a lot of the little jobs, things like cleaning brushes, making cups of tea, which I loved.
Important?
Very important, actually. And it was things like bags. I learned a lot about the continuity notes, which was like a godsend for like the 2 other jobs that I went on to, because I was like thrown straight in the deep end with that. So I was practicing, and I got to, because there was another trainee and she wants to learn as well. We sort of used each other to learn. So we would do hairstyles on each other, makeup looks, prosthetics. It was so much fun. And I think we both really appreciated that.
Do you think it helped then having somebody at the same sort of level as you then?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, it sounded like.
And I think maybe if you look at it, it'd be like, there might be a bit of competition, but it wasn't like that at all. It was really nice to have her there and to see how she got on. It was like a little bit like I was shadowing her.
Right, great.
And because she is a brilliant trainee as well. So it was really nice to sort of see what her day-to-day life looked like, so I could go into that before literally going straight in.
Definitely. So Crisis was am I right in thinking it's a Welsh language drama?
Yes, it was, yeah.
And I got to say that you speak Welsh.
Yes.
So how you probably hadn't had use of much of your Welsh language maybe in Southampton and London.
No. I actually lost a lot of confidence when I went.
Did it? I mean, it must have been great. You could read the scripts in Welsh. Did it bring your Welsh back to you?
Yeah, I think a lot of my Welsh came back to me when I was talking to other people on crew, and I really struggled. And I gotta say, for people where it's their first language, you come across a lot of people in film and TV that Welsh is their first language, and you've got different types. You've got Northern, you've got Southern, you've got Western as well. And everyone was so patient, because I would say that I'm not confident with speaking Welsh. And if I did speak to them in English, they would still reply to me in Welsh.
Okay.
So to encourage me, and I really appreciate that, because sometimes I just needed a little bit of patience and just encouragement. So that was really, really lovely of them.
That is great, because what better way to learn, really, isn't it?
Yeah,
they didn't give up on you.
Yeah, and that was just their choice, because they knew that I could understand them. It was just me actually thinking of the words, and they knew that I had it in me. So.
Exactly. Because in a way, you must have done a lot of years in school. Were you primary school in Welsh as well?
Yeah, I was primary school and secondary school in Welsh.
So that's a big time, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I do understand, I've been lucky with my Welsh language, like you, same sort of schooling.
Yeah.
Went to drama college, no Welsh. But I went straight back into it then, being able to work in both Welsh and English. So I've always had it in my life. I've touched base with it. But if you lose it, if you just don't come in contact with speaking Welsh, then I can understand how easy it is just to sort of...
Well, I'm the only one in my family that can speak Welsh.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Which is great.
It's literally just me and then some of my school friends, like one or two of my school friends that can speak Welsh.
Yeah, because...
So this has been like an absolute godsend to get back into it, because it is something I want to keep growing on.
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I think it just, especially if you want to stay in Wales, it just opens double the doors, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was part of your heritage as well.
Exactly. Well, tell us about your... So then you had a bit of a break probably, and you came back to scale for a bit, diploma work.
Yeah.
But I don't know about you. I feel sometimes with your diploma work, it's not all bad, especially the workplace units, because at least it's stuff that you're learning on the job.
It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are like, oh, it's paperwork, but I mean, it was really straightforward. It was really easy, and sometimes it was quite nice being in an office with the girls, and then obviously some of the boys as well, and then just chatting and having cups of tea and just cracking on with it. It was quite nice, because it was like being back in that student environment.
Yeah.
Which I obviously miss.
And, to be fair, you probably had full on, am I thinking maybe your hours were quite intense when you were doing Crisis? Or were they not too bad?
I mean, the designer was really brilliant with time management, so she would ensure that we weren't doing any overtime, but we did enough hours to actually experience.
Okay,
So we never broke turnaround, we never did overtime, but she wanted to prepare us for the industry, so she was like, right, you are going to do the 12 hours because that's what it's like.
Yeah.
That's what you need to learn. So I'm glad for that, because it helped with my other two jobs then. So I was like physically prepared.
Yes. Yes, definitely. So tell us about your second placement, because that was a back-to-back. It was English language and a Welsh language drama. Was it Dalamet?
Yeah, I think that might have just been in
Welsh.
Yeah. Oh, it was just in Welsh.
Was it just in Welsh? Because it was going to Netflix. I thought it was... Maybe it was just...
That's what I think threw me off then for a second.
Oh, yeah.
I think it was, it was just in Welsh.
Solely in Welsh then.
Yeah, because I think when I was going on to my third one, which was back-to-back, I was like, how the hell does that work? And Sue literally just said, oh, no, it actually is a lot more straightforward than you think.
Okay.
So, Dalamet was... Dalamet was, just filmed in Welsh. And that was... amazing.
So I'm thinking now, Bethan, that it must have gone on Netflix with subtitles?
Yes, yeah, definitely, yeah.
So obviously they'd done Dalamesh 1, and then, am I right in thinking that they found out it was going out on Netflix before they shot Dalamesh 2?
I'm not entirely sure, to be honest.
Because it just went to SLC first.
Yeah.
I knew there was a lot of fuss about it, that it was going on to Netflix.
Yeah.
So probably Dalamesh 2 was, I would imagine, quite an exciting thing to work on.
Oh, yes, definitely. And they hired a lot of their old crew as well, so I got to meet a lot of them. And yeah, the whole filming process was amazing because that was the first time that I had full responsibility as a trainee.
Wow.
And the designer himself was incredible as well. He's an old BBC designer, and he works a lot with wigs. And it was just brilliant, and all the stories we'd hear, I'd love it. All the old stories of how the film and TV industry used to be as well.
Did you meet anybody from your first placement on your second placement?
Yes.
So any of the same team?
Yeah, there were a few. So it was really nice because it was like, oh, I'm not a complete stranger.
Yeah.
Because I think that is the most intimidating bit, is going on to set and you're a complete stranger. But I think just from the first one on, and it was only 6 weeks, so I did it. That's not really enough time to get to know someone.
Yeah.
But people are so friendly, and they were just like, "Oh, hi, it's nice to see you on this job." And it's like I actually knew people.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So in a way, even on 2 placements, you were getting to know a lot of the crew and the cast, and they were recognising you.
Yeah.
How did you find working with actors, if you don't mind me saying?
I haven't come across a bad actor then.
That's great. That's good to hear.
I mean, maybe I haven't yet to experience that. But no, I think as well, especially as a trainee, they understand that I'm learning as well. And a lot of people were so happy for me to do things with them. Like Suhu's, for example, she wears a lot of wigs. And she really encouraged me to get into it more, and she gave me amazing criticism, because as someone who does wear wigs a lot, what's best for her. And that was absolutely brilliant, because that's really what I want to get into now.
Were you finding, Bethan, that you were maybe not only crew that you were meeting on the next job, but did you find any actors in the same productions as well during your journey? Or?
Oh, actually we did. We've got, I don't know if I can say his name.
Don't say his name, man.
From Crisis.
Right.
He's been on our last one.
Right, okay.
I don't know if I can mention his name.
No, don't worry about it.
Because I don't think his character's been revealed on the thing.
But it's like, what I'm trying to get to, it's like a family, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know?
And it was nice because he was brilliant on Crisis. And then when I got to see him on my last job as well, he was, because he saw me from start to finish, and he was like, wow, it's really nice to see how you've grown. So
you feel free if you don't want to mention the third one, because I know it's not out there yet. But so your third production was another drama, yeah?
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, so I've only worked really on TV dramas.
Okay.
And that has been amazing because it means, a smaller crew means I get to be more hands-on.
Right.
So I get to experience more. And that was back-to-back, which you'd think would be quite a lot. But actually it's not. It's very straightforward.
Okay, does it take double the time because they're doing the lines in English and then the lines in Welsh? Or?
Kinda, but because, they've rehearsed the one in, say, Welsh or English first, we'll say Welsh first. And they'll get it right, so they'll go take a couple takes and get it right within Welsh.
Yeah.
And then they know how it's done. Then once they're happy with that shot, they'll go straight on to English or rehearse it in English, and then the English then won't take as long because they know the rhythm and what's best for them and what works, like actions and stuff.
And of course, I suppose that staging and stuff is all exactly the same, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's what I was scared about at first, because I was like, oh my God, how does that work? Continuity, that's going to be an absolute nightmare. And Sue just calmed me down. She was like, no, actually, I promise you it was a lot easier.
Wow.
Because it's just filmed directly after it.
Yeah,
and
of course.
She was like, and when they go for the other language after, it's literally just exactly the same, if not easier.
Again, you could understand both languages as well.
Yeah.
It just makes things easier, I think, sometimes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If you're working on something. I know, you don't have to have Welsh, you don't have to have Italian, but I think if you've got a little bit of understanding of a language, it just makes it easier.
Yeah.
So basically you were on your third placement, and am I right in thinking that your apprenticeship was coming to an end, but they kept you on?
Yeah.
Which is fantastic.
It was brilliant. The line producer, he was on the first ever job with me, so it was really nice that he kept me on. I really appreciated that.
So I'm hoping your money went up.
Yeah, it did. Oh my God, yes, it did. That was a lovely little surprise. Obviously, it was only like 2 weeks of paid work, but it was really nice, and it was like, it got me really excited then to now go on to the industry. Because
it shows that they didn't just say, "Oh, bye, your apprenticeship finishes, bye." We'll be seeing you.
They could have, because they had because obviously they took me on because I was a skill apprentice, which is really required. But they didn't have to keep me on, but they did in the end, which means I got to enjoy the whole production.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Tell me how you got around. I'm presuming you had to invoice for your last 2 weeks yourself.
No, I was PAYE.
Oh, right, okay.
So they did all of that for me. The finances were absolutely amazing. The ladies on those accounts, they helped me out so much throughout all of the production. And yeah, everything was straightforward. Overtime, expenses, it was all covered. It was brilliant.
Oh, fab.
Yeah.
But would you say that you're ready? I'm thinking as well, though, with stuff you've done before, makeup work, you probably had to invoice companies before, have you?
I had to invoice on Day.
Right.
And that was just things like kit costs, because they gave me an allowance. I had no idea that I was entitled to that. And the production manager came up to me and she said, yes, you are entitled to it, so we will make sure that you got it. It's not a lot, but obviously a little bit is worth it in the end. And yeah, so I had to invoice for that, and yeah, I think that was pretty much it.
You're not worried about, I'm thinking going forward for you as a makeup artist, as a career, sort of the freelance world, does that bother you at all, about looking after your own finances, finding your own work?
I think it's more finding my own work. I'm very lucky because my department is very close-knit, and I've got a few people in the industry that have really looked after me and have got, will continue to. And everyone's so lovely and supports each other. So, now I'd say it's going to be all right, but I think for me personally, I am a little bit anxious, but I think that's just guaranteed. And I've spoken to other makeup artists and trainees as well, and even people from other departments who are looking for work, and they just said that's a given. Yeah. Because sometimes work is quiet, sometimes it's not, and then you've got so much choice and you're panicking which is the right decision to make, and what production you want to go on. And they just always say that's just part of it. You just have to learn to live with that. Okay. And that is something I'm currently getting used to now.
Yes, of course. While you were on your last production, I mean, am I right in thinking, Bethan, you've only just finished it days ago?
Yeah, I finished like a week ago.
Oh my gosh, okay.
So I've had a week off.
Yeah.
Catch up with my sleep.
But while you were on that last job and the last couple of weeks, did you find that people start talking about what is going on next?
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people talk about while you're on production. It's always like it comes up in conversation. People are like, oh, what are you going on to next? Have you heard anything? And then also like updates, or did you get it? It'd be amazing if you did. And yeah, so I think it is a lot of word of mouth. Yeah. Through that. So yeah.
And with the makeup team, does a team take their team on with them, or
sometimes?
Does that work? Or?
Sometimes. Okay. I think it's always quite spread out. So it's like a bit of, because I think some people have a routine, people they like to work with over and over again, and then some people are open to a new team because they want to meet new people. So it changes. It all depends on the individual, really. I think I'm at that stage where I'm still early on, so I'm meeting people. So I'm going on to different teams and meeting new people every single time.
So at the moment, you're having a bit of a break, yeah?
Yes.
Do you know what if there are any things coming up in the distant future?
I think there is a few things coming on, and obviously you have your usuals like Publicom and Casualty, who are very reliable. So I might see if I can try and get onto one of those. So that would be really exciting because a lot of people come for those series.
Yeah.
And the stories you hear from what they've learned is amazing. So I think that would actually be a really good opportunity.
Yeah. And do you feel, Bethan, that there's enough work in Wales to keep you in Wales?
Oh, 100%. So I think, especially South Wales, 100%. I think I'd rather be in South Wales than anywhere else, really. And especially because they're very specific, like TV dramas and other series, and you've got some films. I think it's nice because everyone knows each other then, and you've got friends then regardless of where you go.
Definitely. So on your placement, on your apprenticeship, your placements were all in drama. Do you feel that there's any other area you'd like to work in? I don't know, working on documentaries or kids programs, or
I'd like to go more into live TV, I think.
Live TV, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes.
That would be amazing. I like the idea of that.
You'd love that. I've done a lot of live because you're literally you're getting them done, you're rehearsing, and then you bang, you're doing it, you know?
And it's quick and it's fast. And again, it's something that I haven't done. So it's something I haven't done. I really want to learn it.
So
as much experience as possible.
Yeah. Are you thinking like that you would be looking after the presenters maybe, or the contributors, or whoever?
Anything I can get. I'll take wherever I'm given. Even if it's just, I don't know, looking after whoever.
I used to work on a live entertainment show, and we only had 2 makeup people, and they used to do all the guests, all the presenters, everybody on that hour live show. And you'd have Kelly Jones in the chair one day, you'd have 2 Welsh language presenters, Ffion Gwallt and Matthew Glynn. But they just have everybody in their chair. Do you know what I mean?
I think once you get into the rhythm of it, once you're in that mindset and you're getting people done, you can't really stop, and you don't realise how many people you've done once the time has passed, because you've got such a routine as well. You just fly through it. Yeah,
because every band member would have a bit of male, female. Well, female would have more, but the males would all have they'd be powdered down because they'd all be sweating.
Oh, yeah.
But, again, it was no period or anything, and there was the continuity. It wasn't like drama, obviously.
Yeah.
But, I could see you doing that. You'd love it. It's just sort of fast-paced. Bang, 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 bang,
studio work, just being in an enclosed environment. But I do love being on location now.
Yes.
I have so much fun being on set.
I suppose in a CV as well, it is nice to show a bit of difference as well.
Yeah.
I can do this.
And variety,
Yeah. Lastly, Beth, I wanted to ask you about any sort of extra training or any extra courses you did during your CRIW apprenticeship. Did you get a chance to do a couple of courses? Or
I did the barbering course.
Fantastic.
Because I'd say it's quite essential that you do some sort of hair cutting course before going into film and TV.
Right.
Because it is a lot of that. And also it's just really good to have that experience under your belt. So I really did want to do barbering in general anyway. And from the first job that I did, the trainee was going on to do a barbering course.
Right.
And I was talking with her, so we ended up deciding that we'd do it together.
Oh, fantastic.
And I was very fortunate that CRIW actually funded for me to do the barbering course, because I don't think I probably could have afforded it by myself. And that was a part-time course in the evenings, so it fitted in great with film and TV.
Fabulous.
Especially because the designers were really understanding as well. They were like, of course we want you to learn that, so yes, you can have the evening off and go and do that.
Right. Where were you doing that?
That was in Barry College, Cardiff and Vale.
Oh, fantastic.
And it was a brilliant course. I loved it.
Length, was it 8 weeks or?
It was from September to about April.
Oh wow, okay.
So
quite a big commitment.
Yeah, it is a bit, but I think in retrospect, I don't think it is, because it's one night and evening. So it was brilliant. It fitted in so well with the schedule, rather than having to give up the film and TV jobs to do a course and then try and get back into it. I could sort of have best of both worlds.
Have you taken anything that you learned on the course into any job so far? Or?
Yes.
Oh my God.
I'm very lucky because you get a lot of crew, a lot of the men. They're like, oh, do you fancy giving me a haircut? I'm like, yeah, I'd love to do that. So it's great. And a lot of them came in to do like the modelling for me. So it's like, as well, because one thing about doing those courses, it's quite hard to find models.
Yeah, of course.
But I was quite lucky because a lot of the lads at work would be like, I'll let you cut my hair. I'll model for you. So it was like I had loads of choice.
I think you should have been charging them by the end of it.
No, never. Because I think if I had, I don't know, something wrong with my camera or something like our department fixed the pair of clippers for me once.
Oh, yeah.
It all comes back around. So it's nice where they're actually helping me out because I get to learn and they're getting a free haircut.
Well, yeah, fantastic. Yeah. What about kits-wise? Were you able to build on your kit for hair and for makeup during the year? I mean, did you find that you had to go out and buy stuff? Or?
I did have to buy a few little things. But what I find is really nice is that people within the makeup department, a lot of people pass things around. So if they've got things that they don't use anymore, they will pass it along.
That's great.
So it's really good because I think my set bag, I was like in between set bags, and one of the ladies in our department was giving away a set bag and she was like, would you like this? And I was like, yes, please.
Oh my gosh.
So it just comes around and it's nice because we all help each other out. And I think I'm not at the stage where I have anything in my kit that I don't use yet. But when it will come to it, because I've got copious amounts of crap that I probably should get rid of, then I can pass that on to like say another trainee, or if someone like, I don't know, just needs like an extra bag, they can have that. It's nice because we all just help each other out.
I'm presuming you had a bit of kit before you started.
Yes,
but in a way, did you know that was the right kit? Does that make sense?
Kinda, yeah. So I think you've just got your basics, but I think specifically things like a set bag. I didn't have a set bag.
Right.
And it's things like your mattifier, your anti-shine, things like specific combs, nail polish remover, nail clippers, a lot things that you would need for like last minute checks.
Yeah.
I didn't have that, so I was quite lucky on my first job with a supervisor, kind of just like went through all the bits that I needed, what I didn't need.
Brilliant.
I had no idea. So it was like I had like the first-hand experience to know and then get to use that equipment and see how it works.
I'm taking that sometime your base was far away from set, so you need your set back.
Oh, yeah. Bag. Yeah. Because when you go onto set as well, you would just take your set bag. Maybe you'd have like another bag full of things like wipes and towels and stuff, and maybe a hairdryer, but essentially you would just need your set bag because otherwise you've got a lot to carry.
Yeah, of course.
And then you've got your individual actors bags then, where they have their own individual goodies.
Yes. And I suppose you've got actors that can't use certain makeups maybe, or ethical and reasons.
If they're vegan or if they have any allergies, then we make sure that is specifically for them.
Got so much to think about.
I don't think it's a lot though when you're in it.
No, probably not.
But
I
get maybe from someone who doesn't work in it, then maybe. I don't think about it like that.
I used to love seeing a makeup station because there was like hundreds of like shadow colours and loads of different shades of different foundations.
I think that's my favourite thing if I go onto a new job, is seeing how people lay out their places.
Oh, yeah.
I find it really pleasing and aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, and you know, I've had makeup put on myself, and there's nothing nicer than looking 100 times better than you actually really do. Wow.
I think a lot though on dramas, we because the actors are so photogenic. A lot of the time we're actually making them look worse. So they would come in, they'd just woken up, and then we're putting dark circles under their eyes because obviously it's a drama, so they have to be really realistic.
Yeah, of course.
Things like cuts and I don't know, bruises. Yeah. And they're just like, God, I look worse than when I just actually woke up, and we're like, good, it means we did a good job.
Yeah. Gee, thanks, Beth.
Yeah.
Listen, it's been lovely catching up with you.
It's lovely catching up with you as well.
And good luck. And yeah, I'm sure I'm going to see your names on all the dramas. And,
I hope so.
Yeah, and live programmes, that's the one we'll be looking out for next. But yeah, good luck for the future, Beth, and thank you very much.